Welcome back, everybody, to the Globe's Hottest, where we discuss the political and economic state of the world. So today we'll be discussing Trump's executive order to withdraw from the WHO that he dropped in January. So we brought an expert that works at the WHO himself, aka known as William David Kwan.
Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Kwan here. Excited to share my information with you.
I have a real quick question. What do you guys do at the World Health Organization, also known as the WHO?
Well, in the World Health Organization, we have about 8,000 professionals, from doctors to managers to, scientists. And all these people, we all help and coordinate the world's response to health crises and prevent diseases from spreading.
All right, well, thank you for letting us know. Now time to get to the nitty-gritty. For the viewers, I just want to give you some background knowledge. So Trump wants to withdraw from the World Health Organization because he believes that the U.S. is spending way too much money on them, and he also believes that they handled the COVID-19 pandemic poorly. So if you don't mind me asking, what does the WHO spend the money on?
Well, pull up the graph. Right here, this is the 2024 to 2025 budget, and this budget obviously shows the spending for universal health coverage. We spend about almost $2 billion in universal health coverage. This is to make sure that everyone has access to the health and making sure that everyone can have access, going from vaccinations all the way to, bandages even.
For our first wing, we're going to be having honey barbecue. Something light for the day.
Okay. Honey barbecue, got it.
Very good. Alright, so before I had you on, I did a little bit of research on my own. And I found that Trump was saying that, it's unfair that the U.S. has less people, like population, and they spend more money, while other countries like China have more people but spend less money. So what are your thoughts about what Trump was saying there?
Well, I have nothing against Trump. However, I can see lots of problems with this because the U.S., pays a lot for the WHO's budget.
Okay, so for our next wing, we'll have the peri-peri sauce from Trader Joe.
Peri-peri sauce.
Pick your sauce, William.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Thank you.
No problem. Wing number 2. Ooh, I like that.
What's up, friend?
So, William, do you have any idea about how much the United States spends?
Yeah, the U.S. in last year, the 2022 and 2023 season, the U.S. paid about 15% of WHO's budget, and that's about, $1.3 billion. And like I said, this upcoming season with that budget, the U.S. will be paying around 22%, which is about $1.5 billion, which is, like I said, another $200 million than the past years.
And it'll be shown up on the graph that I've pulled up that he sent to me. So, real quick question. Do you have any idea about any short-term effects that this will bring if the U.S. decides to pull out?
Yeah, the short-term effects is obviously the U.S. pays so much more compared to all the other countries, and that if the U.S. leaves, or when the U.S. leaves, there's going to be such a big gap to fill that the next country up is obviously China, so China will fill in that financial gap for WHO's budget.
Right, before I ask you the next question, we do have to move on to the next wing, which is no, not this one, sorry. Sweet chili sauce.
Sweet chili sauce.
Grab your wing. Wing. Show it to the camera, please.
Yeah, this wing.
Got this wing. Daichi. Okay.
I'm picking up a little bit.
Okay, so do you know about any long-term effects?
Yeah, the long-term effects, like I said, since China's going to be filling in that gap, politically, people will lean towards China and other countries because China is going to be paying the most hefty sum in WHO's budget. So these other countries around the world will support China more because, they're just they're just paying more for WHO's budget.
Speaking of WHO's budget, why do they need so much? Like, what are they spending with this amount of money?
Well, this amount of money, WHO spends is, spent on so much things, going from detecting and monitoring modern diseases and making sure that if new diseases came up, we contained it and make sure that it does not spread.
Time for the next wing. Not the sweet chili, but the Tabasco sauce.
Tabasco
sauce.
Tabasco.
Yep. Grab your wing.
Oh, okay. Cheers.
Show it to the camera. Oh, you don't want a bump?
My bad.
Thank you.
So we're getting we're getting to it now, huh?
A little quick.
Was this like
There's one of the workers there.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about how different countries or people will be affected from the World Health Organization?
Yeah. So, the U.S. would lose access to this data, and people like me who work for the U.S. government that are sent to who to work for whom, we would lose our money or lose our jobs, and this would lose access to. No, the U.S. would lose access to whose findings of new diseases.
For our next wing, we'll have a little habanero sauce.
Habanero?
Habanero. It fell on my jeans. It's
Okay.
so upsetting. We'll bump.
I took a big bite.
Yeah, I did too. Oh yeah, that's got a little kick too. I'm so sorry. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you good?
Oh, I'm good.
Are you actually okay?
I'm good.
Okay. So, as you were saying earlier about how the U.S. would lose lots of the data, does that mean we'd be more vulnerable to other diseases?
In theory, yes, because the U.S. would lose track of public database that WHO provides, and since WHO is not going to be providing this database to the U.S., they will eventually not have access, and they're going to have to make their own database tracking these diseases.
So, since the U.S. is going to be losing all of the WHO's access, like surveillance and all their data, and their scientists and laboratories, what does that mean for government spendings?
Well, government spendings would increase, to rebuild these databases that they're losing that the U.S. already has. So they'd have to pay more.
Okay, so other than the U.S., what about the different countries? Like, how would they be affected by this, and like companies in the U.S.?
Well, different countries like that have public health programs. They will need since they rely so heavily on the U.S. Like they just oh my god they just
You okay?
yeah no
All right, just got late.
they just can't provide for themselves, so the U.S. leaving will just cause chaos.
We got one more wing left. You ready?
Okay.
It's ghost pepper sauce.
Go.
I'm not joking.
Ghost pepper?
Sorry, and you gotta add a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
That's enough.
See? That wasn't that bad. Anyway, thank you again for coming on to the podcast. I gotta go. I gotta get a drink. Oh, I gotta go get a drink. Thank you again, William, for coming. I gotta go.
Thank you, everyone.